thanks for coming back. I do this on sometimes twice a week for your people. It's like bird and cats. Once you take a break, hard to get you back. So you did good. You came back. I would just encourage you to thank Tim Horner and the Premier people for offering me, and hopefully they'll do that again next year. You get to come back and do a new thing next year. But you have to tell Tim I helped you, because remember, he's a bottom line kind of guy. So now we're gonna continue, but before I continue, I want to give you some questions. So because I'm here to help you, I want to make sure you understand what we're talking about. We already have one question over here. So what's the question?
So how long does it take, or if you're trying to make a change and it's a subconscious thing, how long does it take to make that conscious, or subconscious? I think I asked that backwards. If you're consciously trying to make a change, how long does it take to make that a subconscious thing so you're not?
Unfortunately, there's no general rule, because some of your habits are more complex than other habits. For example, like doing a seatbelt, it's probably 30 days. Probably if you do that, in probably a month you can do that. Let's go back to the road. And just tell you how change happens. You've got this person with you, they're encouraging you, you're getting that done. Now let's say you realize you really like it over here, and they offer you a job over there, so you're going to stay. So you stay in London, and now you've been driving maybe 4 months in London, because this is a complex thing, driving, because you've done this so often. But probably after about 4 months, you would be a wrong side of the road rider. You really would. You would just, it would be like here. You wouldn't be thinking about it that much. You could make that trip, and you wouldn't be that tired, because you would be a wrong side of the road driver. Now listen to this. This may be the most important thing I tell you, because if you figure this one out, if you really get this, you will understand how to be successful in life. Most of life is figuring out how to make your body do what it does not want to do, and in the world, it's almost like driving on the wrong side of the road to be successful, because it's so easy to do the other part, and that's why most people aren't successful. They give up before it becomes them. You see, once that becomes you, then you are just a successful person. That's what you do. And most people can't make those disciplines long. See, they have the desire, but until they discipline themselves long enough, that doesn't become their delight. See, that this is the way they think. This is the way their body reacts, because they've done it so much that it reacts that way. So what you have to do is you have to have enough rewards along the way to keep that going. Let me give you a story to kind of show you that. Victor Borge was a comedian of yesteryear. Funny guy. He used to tell this story about an eccentric young uncle who was an inventor. He was always inventing things. And one particular year at family reunion, he came up with a drink. He invented his own drink, and people love this drink. Man, this is a great drink. He says, you ought to sell it. You ought to bottle it and sell it. He thought, yeah, I think I will. So he got a little small marketing company, bottling company, and he came out with this drink, and he called it 4-Up. And it was a total disaster. I mean, nobody bought it, nobody else. So he said, I will quit though. So he got a little less sugar, a little more fizz, and a new marketing company, and called it 5-Up. And it was still a disaster. Well, he went back to the drawing board, got a little more sugar, a little less fizz, became a new marketing company, and called it 6-Up. And it was a disaster. And he gave up and quit. And Victor Borge always smiles when he tells that story and says, if only he'd have known how close he was to 7-Up. Now, I tell that story because most people give up at 6-Up. Most people almost make it, it almost becomes them, and then it doesn't become them. So what you have to do is you have to find the reward system in your life that you can make work until you get to that point. You see, that's just you. That's how successful people do it. Now, again, depending on the time, let's give you a simple change. I speak for a living. That's what I do. So we have videos of me speaking. It's probably 15 years old. My wife, some of you probably met my wife. I don't know. She's come sit there every now and then. But my wife is, we grew up totally different. She is, as a matter of fact, when we do the Myers-Briggs thing, we're just about totally opposites. You know, and opposites attract before marriage, right? But opposites attack after. But we've been married 43 years, so we've figured out how to do it. But anyway, but she grew up totally different from me. Her father was from upstate New York. He was a brilliant scientist, engineer guy. You know, went to Ohio State University. Very analytical kind of guy, very formal kind of guy. At her house, everything was formal. Everything was like perfect grammar, perfect everything, pretty much. You know, and wealthy. She grew up wealthy. I'm a preacher's kid. Okay, so I grew up poor. I was born in L.A., Moore, Alabama, okay? Then we moved to UCLA, Upper Central, Lower Alabama. And although my dad was a pastor of country churches in those days, pastors didn't have college education. He went to college, but he never finished. My mother, I think he married my mother when she was 16. So I don't think she ever finished high school. So grammar at my house was atrocious. Okay, atrocious. Now, I married Penny. Okay, perfect grammar, perfect everything. Now, I'm a smart guy, and I have a doctor's degree in psychology. One way I got the doctor's degree, because I'm poor, is I scored high enough on the graduate record exam. The National Institute of Mental Health paid for my whole doctorate program, the whole thing. Okay? So I'm a smart guy, but I'm from LA, and my mother didn't finish high school. So my grammar was pretty bad, So in front of tens of thousands of people, I've used incorrect grammar. That's my habit. And under pressure, it would come out. I could work out at the house, but under pressure, it would come out. See? So my wife, you ever got to have somebody reward you, come up, partner, and say, hey, you're doing this good. So we decided to work on this one particular routine, where I got this routine you might have heard if you've heard some of the relationship material, where I talk about how my wife grew up wealthy and how I grew up poor. In other words, you know, she was so wealthy, you know, her pool wasn't heated, but it was a different world than what I grew up in, you know, because in our house, you know, well, we had the rainbows were black and white, you know, we were so poor, you know, and then I'd say she had 4 baths, I had 4 pads, you know, indicating our bathroom was outside. And then I got this one line I say where one year the bathroom caught on fire, and I'm supposed to say we were excited it didn't reach the house. But in front of tens of thousands of people, I say, one year the bathroom caught on fire, we was excited it didn't reach the house. And she's going, no. I can't even say that in front of all these people. So I had to constantly work on that line. I had to constantly work on saying it right, you know. And so, and we had to work up a system, you know, in front of, and it had to be over 1,000 people, because with smaller groups, I wasn't not as much adrenaline, not as much going, you know. For example, you know, for the Myers-Briggs, I'm a very extroverted person. I do better with bigger groups, you know. Like, have you ever heard me in National Rally? I'm really good. Here, I'm just average, you know, because this is not much of you. And so any group over 1,000 people, I had to say that 5 times. We were excited, you know. And then I got a reward. I'm not going to tell you what the reward was. And so that's what you have to work at, and you have to know what rewards you and what doesn't. And that's what some people don't understand. They don't understand why you have to have these rewards. You got to give the rewards to keep you doing the behavior to get to 7 up, you know, or else you'll quit at 6 up, you know. And every reward is it's different for different people, you know. It's like, you know, Jesus said we're to be fishers of men. Can you imagine a person fishing and you come up and say you caught the fish? No. How long you been out here? All day. You been out here all day? You haven't caught any fish? No. Other people catch a fish. You haven't caught any? I haven't had a bite. Wow. You would say this. Here's what you say. What are you using for bait? And the guy would say, blackberries. Why? Because I love blackberries. Matter of fact, I'm eating today. They're really good. You want something? They're really good. Now, what would you say? Dumb fisherman. Never going to catch any fish. You know why some of you don't connect with people? You fish with blackberries. You think everybody's rewarded the way you're rewarded. And it's not the case. That's what happens in a marriage relationship. You think that person's rewarded the way no. Love is experienced by different people in different ways. It's like a combination lock. There are different numbers. You got to figure out what those numbers are. And many times you just have to ask them. One of these seminars we do is the Myers-Briggs, where we tell you what your personality is like. And I did that for a company. Had 4 vice presidents. And I said, I gave the strengths and weaknesses of these particular people and that kind of thing. And finally I said this about one vice president. I said, and by the way, old Sam here, instead of giving him that bonus this year that you're going to give him an extra week's vacation. That will motivate him more than the bonus. And the president of the company looks at me and says, you can tell that from a psychological test? I said, no, I asked him. And I went on to say, look, you meet with this guy, you can meet with this guy once a week for the whole year. I've only met him one time in my life. But I know what motivates him. Why? Because I talked to him. I found out about him. He's got 2 daughters, one graduated from high school, one graduated from college. He thinks this is the last year they're going to take a family vacation. Probably going to be, off and married or whatever. So he wants to do he wants to go to Europe. But he needs 1 extra week to do that. He says, I'll find out about it. And that's what you have to do. That's why you have to communicate. People find out, what's your blackberries? What can we do here? You got to know your blackberries, and you got to know what somebody else's blackberries are, you see, in order to reward them, if you want to change their behavior. So we go now. I guess I answered your question. I get a little carried away. That was a long answer, wasn't it? Yeah, well, that's right. The question was how long would it take? The answer is this. Depending on the complexity of the habit, will depend on how long it takes. Now, also, there's a little bit inverse proportion to that. It also depends on how a person thinks the reward is, how great they think the reward is. If you think the reward is really great, sometimes you can really, it's kind of like going on vacation. The day before you go on vacation, you can get a lot of work done. And because the reward is pretty big. I'm out of here. Once I do this, I'm out of here. You got to get going. And so, if the reward is big enough, you'll get extra adrenaline probably and more stuff done. So that's a simple. Okay. Any other questions? though? I promise you, I'll try to answer a little simple. Wow. So you're okay right now. Everybody understand everything. Okay. Okay. Now, I'll give you a few more concepts. And we talked about a little bit of that with somebody in the back. Here's what people try to do. They try to just start things without stopping other things. Remember, there's no such thing as self-control. Here's the reason. The mind can only have one thought at a time. The mind can only have one thought at a time. So let me illustrate that. Let's just say there's an elephant right here. It's a pretty big elephant for this room. See the elephant? You got to see this. It's an elephant. And it's on yellow roller skates. Kind of weird. And it's got on pink pajamas. Isn't that a funny looking elephant? And I'm going to push this elephant. And it's rolling. See it rolling on those roller skates. You got the elephant in your mind. See those pink pajamas? Funny looking, isn't it? Now, get the elephant out of your mind. Get those pink pajamas out of your mind. Get the yellow roller skates out of your mind. Get the elephant out of your mind. Have you got the elephant out of your mind? It came back. You got the elephant out there? You got that? Anybody got the elephant out of your mind? If you do, I promise you replaced it with something else. It may be a monkey in yellow pajamas. You may be strange. I don't know. But that's the way the mind works. You can only have one thought at a time. And here's the problem with success. Most of the time, your thought is about not doing it. You're trying not to do it. That's why, the kicker, Mrs. Extra Point, coochie, and so now what is he thinking about? He's thinking about missing. That's what he's thinking about missing. So he goes out and misses again. So it's put off and putting on. Let me give you another visual. Let's just say you come to my house and you say, Charles, you've got a great house, but this furniture is late attic, early Sears. I mean, this is, and it's junk. And I'll help you get this junk out because I got to pick up trucks. I'll help you with take it down to the dump. That's where this place belongs. And I said, man, you'll help me get this junk. Man, thanks. But this chair, he said, that's the worst chair. I mean, yeah, that's terrible. It's awful. I had it forever. Let's take it down to the dump. But this table is an awful table. It's pitiful. That's terrible. Take it, put it in the car. We can go down there and put it in the dump. You bring me back. Man, thank you. I feel so much better getting all that junk out of my life. But I'm tired. I'm glad I got rid of that chair. I hated that chair. I'd rather sit on the floor than that chair. Sit on the floor. I'm hungry though. Got rid of that table. I'm glad I got rid of that table. I hated that table. I'll see it on the floor. You know where you'll be in a couple of days if you don't get new furniture? Back at the dump. They left the same old junk. That's how most people do. See, they think they're getting the junk out of life, but they don't put anything in its place. So they end up back at the, and in fact, Jesus met a guy, I remember he healed him, and he said, if you start doing this behavior again, you're going to feel worse. And that's what people do. Once they've done this, and now they start doing this back again, they feel worse. Because they know what they're capable of doing. They know they could do it if they just figured out how to keep it going, how to keep that reward system going. And so now, part of this, you come away for renewal, and then part of this is also looking at your whole life in perspective of what kind of pace did you live. In other words, if you can, here's why you have to stop doing other things and start doing these things, is because you only have so much energy. And by the way, we talked about this in our Let's Get Healthy seminar, but I just have to mention it. Exercise is the magic bullet. Exercise gives energy. If you want energy, you have to get energy in order to get it back. And every person needs an exercise program. You say, well, my body's a temple. I know that some of your Bueller programs got out of hand. We need them. And people always, and biblically people always say, well, they said the Bible exercise, they didn't talk about exercise that much. Well, that's because the Bible was written in a time where people walked everywhere they went. Nobody was overweight in the Bible, I promise you. And so matter of fact, they do a study of psychotherapy with people who are depressed. Just take clinical depression. People who are depressed. Men or females. Most studies know females, because more females get depressed, and maybe it's because of men. But anyway, they're depressed. If you do psychotherapy, medication, behavioral therapy, cognitive therapy, a placebo group, a control group, and a group that exercises, the group that gets exercise always gets better, more than anybody with depression. It's just the way the body works. So you that energy is very important. But the energy, you only have so much, no matter how much you exercise. And so you've got to decide, what am I doing and what am I not going to do? You got to have some kind of plan. What am I going to do? See, here's what most people do. They live life not by distraction, not by direction, but by distraction. It's like going to a grocery store. When I go to the grocery store, I know what I want. Grapes, bananas, milk, and maybe fiber one, because I'm at that age where you eat a lot of fiber, you'll live 5 years longer, and 4 years of that will be in the bathroom. So I'm not sure what that is, but anyway. But when I go to the grocery store, I know what I want, I got it. But when I get there, there's Twinkies and Ding Dongs and Snickers and Bluebell ice cream and all kind of stuff. And if I'm not careful, I'll get to checkout, look back and realize I wasted a lot of time, spent a lot of money on stuff I didn't really want or need. And that's where most people live their life. They get to checkout, remember you will die, you will get to checkout. So guess what? When I go to the grocery store, I gotta have a list. But guess what else? I need my wife with me to keep me on the list. You see, that's what. Remember, you got these people with you. They say, "This is what you said you're going to do." This is what we're going to do. This is how life works. And so we have to put off and put on. Whatever you resist, persist. Now, you also have to know this. What you can control and what you can't control. Unfortunately, most of us try to control things we can't control. You pray about those things. You don't, so let me give you, this is a concept that will help you. It will help the people that you're trying to help. It's the difference between what I call process and power goals. Process goals are things you control. Power goals involve a higher power, literally, and other things you can't control. Okay? If you can learn to make a dichotomy between these two, you can kind of get some less stress in your life and other people's life. So let me give you some visuals so you can see the difference between the two. When I was growing up, my dad said, I want you to get good grades in school. You get $5 for an A, $4 for a B, $3 for a C. You get less than C, I'm going to kick you in the pants. That was his reward system for grades. Now, nothing wrong with rewards. Remember, that's how successful people learn how to reward themselves. In fact, the Bible says God one day is going to reward you. God wants our rewards too. So we're made in His image. We work the same way. That's just the way we are. So nothing wrong with rewards. Unfortunately, that system, he was rewarding behavior that was a power goal. I didn't have total control over my grades. In fact, I had less control than other powers, really. Because, let me just tell you about grades. Grades are pretty much predicted by IQ, intelligence quotient, which pretty much passed down from generation to generation, okay? Some of you are not understanding this. Let me explain it this way. Some of you didn't pass down a whole lot. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you're wanting your kids to get A grades, in fact, I always tell parents, back when I used to do a lot of child therapy kind of stuff, you show your kids your grades. You show your kids how well you did in sports. We've got a lot. I promise you, we've got a whole generation of parents trying to relive their fantasies through their kids, and they weren't any good either. And so, and most people are average. That's just the way life is. Most people are C's. Really, if everybody got it'd be C students. And by the way, nothing wrong with C students. The college presidents will say this: be really good to your A students, they'll come back and be our professors. But be really good to C students. Why? Because they'll come back and buy us a building. Why? Because there's more C students in the world. There's more C and B and D. Because that's the way the normal curve goes. There's a little bit of A's, but those A's don't relate to anybody. I mean, there's just a few of those. You ever seen somebody who's really smart? Yeah, common sense. That's the way it is. So if you're a C, you got to be more. You got a chance to be a lot more successful. Why? Because you relate to so many more people. But let's just say you want to get your kid a good grades. So you got intelligence quotient. You got teacher personality. Some teachers' personalities doesn't gee-haw with some kids. I had a teacher one time who only gave 2 A's in the whole class. That's all she did. 2 A's. So you're the third smartest kid. You got to decide: am I going to eliminate kid number 2 to move up, or what am I going to do? So you got to decide. So what you have to do with a power goal is you have to break it up into a process goal. What do I have control over that will affect the most of the power goal? And just working with kids, I'll just give you one more thing. It may not be the right thing, but it's what we did for many kids. Is we said, okay, you study 30 to 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the age of the kid. You do that every day. You work on homework or do whatever you're doing. You get rewarded for that. You don't get rewarded for the grade. That just causes stress. Because the kid can work, and he gets to see, and guess what? He gives up. He gives up. But if you if you do 45 minutes every day, 45 minutes every day, you get your reward. Well, man, I'm going to go back and do that 45 minutes. I like that reward. Let's go back and do that again. Now, indirectly, that's going to affect the grades. But you don't work on what you can't control. You work on what you can control. You see, that's what keeps people motivated. That's what keeps people going. Let me give you a couple more illustrations, visuals, so you can see that. I used to work with single people, and these single guys especially say this: I want to be confident, I want to be assertive. I say, where'd you go? I want to get a date. You know, I want to get a date. I'd say, you know, you're real ugly. I don't know. We got to work with this. Not good. But I would work with them, and what we finally decided with these single guys is that our goal would be that they ask 3 girls out every month. Now, we worked out a system where they rewarded their Adams suit for asking 3 girls out every month. Now, that would increase the probability they get a date, but if they just tried to, get a date, they're going to give up. They're going to quit, So you reward what they can do, and then eventually it happens. I mean, I work with guys that like 3 months, 3 months, no dates. And he was ugly. But he didn't give up. 4th month, bingo. I can remember still now. I see his face, how excited he was. Got a date. It was like the 11th no. The 11th no. And so, but that's key, especially in the business you're in. Because you see, how many of you had 11 no's in this group? Okay, and we don't have time to go on this, but since you brought up the no's, you have to think positive even about the no's. Like for example, I'm kind of in the same business here. We have a home business, but I'm a speaker, and so but I have a no-show, no-dough job. You understand that? If I don't show, I get no dough. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to constantly be speaking, or we're not making money. And I'll just give you one little thing we do. So you say we all get no's in life. For example, if I'm speaking to a business or something, say it's Tampa, Florida, okay? Because that's just where we were, and this is what we did. I was speaking to business like on a Friday, or if I'm picking a business on a Monday, or Tuesday, sometimes a Thursday, so you can stay over. Because part of what I do is trying to coordinate things. Sometimes I'll be speaking in California, the next time I'm speaking in Maryland. It's just, so if we get something close together, we can really save money. So if we're speaking to business, so let's say Friday at Tampa, Florida, we will send out, and I think it's 10, maybe 20. I think it could be probably 20. We send out 20 letters to pastors of big churches because, they're the only ones that can afford me. And so, big churches. And so we send it out and say, Dr. Larry's going to be in the area speaking to a certain business. This would be your time to have him, and then you do all your marketing stuff. You want to tell him how wonderful you are, fantastic you are. And then, and you'll get him without any travel expenses or without a motel expense because he's already here in the area. Now, we know we got to send out about 20 of those to get one yes. We're going to get 19 no's. But 19 no's, they really have nothing to do with me because some of them, for one thing, they don't know I'm any good. They don't know who I am. Another one, they got the mission group from Ethiopia there on that Sunday, so they've already booked it, And then the other, he got some pastor who can't preach, and he doesn't want a good preacher in because he'll look bad next Sunday. So that's right. So I mean, you got all those variables are out there, but I don't spend my time worrying about, well, they didn't want me. I just want one yes. That's what I'm going to think about. See, the mind can have, well, how many thoughts? One. So that's what I'm thinking about. Guess what? Indian Rocks, great church in Tampa. They had me. That's all I need. It's just one. And all those no's aren't about me. It's about them. It's about them not having this or not having that or whatever. And so once you understand that, you start to focus on that one thing at a time. So primary goal. Now, let me give you another example. I used to work with car dealers. I still work with car dealers a lot. But I'd ask the car guy, what's your goal? He'd say this, 20 cars. I want to sell 20 cars. I said, well, that's a power goal. Unless you buy them yourself, then you've got a lot of financial problems. So we need to work with something else. So in the car guys, we ended up with something like this, that they spent twice as much time, quality time, this month as last month with qualified prospects. In other words, they knew that people who had a possibility of buying a car, they're going to spend 45 minutes or whatever time, taking their lunch, do whatever, just to connect with them. And in the kind of business, the people business, connection always comes before conviction. You're not going to convict anybody of anything or convince anybody of anything until they first got this connection with you. And so you work on these connections. See, many people, like in your business, many people spend a lot of your time thinking, I'm spending time on convincing people. See? But you don't spend any time on connecting with people. See? And why? Because convincing is quicker, and you get I mean, if you even get 1 out of 20, you got 1. Connecting, you may do 10, and you won't get any because you're not trying to convince them. You're just connecting with them, and it takes so much longer. But eventually then, hey, bingo. This person says, I think I want to do what you do. And you're really doing good. I think I want to do that. If you connect with people well enough and they're attracted to you and they think you got a great life, they're going to start asking you, can they do it? Then they start asking you, how can I do what you do? Well, I'm glad you asked. But see, that means you've got to spend a lot of time on connection rather than on convincing that person. And so these people want to say this. For example, I remember this one patient of mine. She had this lady that at work, was just a jerk, and there's jerks everywhere, folks. I mean, it's just life. There's jerks at church. This is a pretty good group. There's probably a couple jerks here. It's just the way it is. Or jerkettes, I guess, in your case. We'll be feminine here. But I said, what's your goal with this person? And they said, well, my goal is to get this person to like me. I said, that's a power goal. You pray about that stuff. You got to have a plan for what you're going to reward yourself for doing. So with this particular lady, we ended up that she would see that person every day, walk by her desk, smile, call her by name, and say something encouraging to that person every day. And she would do that for 2 weeks, and then she would reward herself for doing that, for being a great person. It had nothing to do with whether the lady ever liked her or not. Now that will increase the probability, but it won't make it for sure. Why? Because it involves a higher power. You can't control the things you can't control. Now, here's the key to what successful people do. Successful people know what the process is, and they spend most of their time on that process. You see, they pray about their power goals, but they spend time on the process. You see, I know what the process is of me speaking at a church when I was speaking at a business the week before, and so we do that process every time. See? And it works. So the good thing about Premier is you come here to find out this is the process that we do. So you keep doing the process, and here's the key. You reward yourself for doing the process, because the process takes too long for the result to reward you. You see, finally the booking of the home show, or the finally of doing this, that's why so many people drop out. See, because they're waiting for this to reward them. That won't keep them going. It'll keep some of them going. I mean, some of you probably kept going, but the majority of people it won't. So you got to find some other way of rewarding them, or else they give up at 4 up, 5 up, 6 up, whatever. They never make it. To that point in time. So you're teaching them about how to reward themselves and how to keep things going. Otherwise it won't work. So you got process goals, you got power goals. You got to make sure you know the difference between the two and reward yourself between the two. Now, that means then you got to put something on, you got to take something else off. So that means in your life, you got to know what those boundaries are. See, sometimes, because there's only so much energy in the day, if you can't stop doing these things, you'll never stop doing these other things. It's many times it's your pace of life. Because we're in the people business, let me give you some research about people. If you wanted to predict how many people would help, let's just say a little old lady over here is having some difficulty. Can't get something or whatever. Who would stop and help this lady? And you had to predict. And you knew about the people coming by her. You might predict, well, if they're a Christian, they're going to help her. I wouldn't bet on that, okay? Maybe if they were the same age, maybe that I wouldn't bet on that. Maybe if they're a lot younger, maybe if they're a young person that is old, maybe they would know. You know what you need to bet on? Because it's been proven? The thing that will determine whether this person stops to help this person is pretty much one major factor, and it's this: whether the person going by is in a hurry or not. Whether they're in a hurry or not. If they're not in a hurry, why don't we start? If they're, well, you know that. It's like a, how many of you have been late for an airplane flight? Anybody been late for a flight? Let me ask you about your behavior. Were you kind to little old ladies? You ran over little old ladies. Why? Because you're late, and when you're late, it's all about you. It's all about you. So what you have to do is you have to look at your pace. You have to come up with a plan for your day of how am I going to relate this. It's like let me give you another travel, because I travel all the time. Let me give you another example. Let's just say you got an all-expense paid vacation to the Caribbean. And 10 days, everything's paid for. And you're going to fly from, let's just say, Houston. Doesn't have a direct flight. The only thing is you got to fly Houston to Dallas, make the connection, boom, direct flight to the Caribbean. And you look at your itinerary, and there's a 2-minute connection in DFW. And you go to the travel agent, something's wrong here. It says it's 2 minutes. And she says, oh yeah, look, I think this will work. I think if your flight is early from Houston to Dallas, and I think if the Dallas flight is late leaving to go to the Caribbean, and if the gates are right next to each other, I think you've got a shot at it. And you would probably say this: that's not a vacation, that's a nightmare. Yeah. Listen, lots of people live their life that way, thinking we got to make all these connections work, and they wonder why they're not working. They wonder why they're a jerk, basically, because it's your pace. See, some of you might discover this weekend the very thing you do is you get specific about your pace of life, and that you decide, I'm getting up maybe 15 minutes earlier to do this, and I'm having a little quiet time, and I'm deciding what am I really going to do today, and what is really important, and what is really not, that I'm quitting doing. I'm not doing this anymore. Now, the problem, of course, is we all have this disease to please, which comes from our Adam suit. And so when you do things and people don't like it, then you have to also decide, am I able to handle that? Am I able to handle the criticism of me making decisions instead of everybody else making decisions for my priorities? You see, God loves you and has a plan for your life. Other people don't love you, but they have a plan for your life. And so you have to decide, am I able, because there will come criticism when you decide your priorities rather than other people decide your priorities. And we do that. I do that all the time. I have all these churches that say, I need to come. We'll pay you gas money or whatever. And I say, I do this for a living, and unless you come up with this money, I ain't showing. And they'll say, oh, aren't you God's man? Yeah, I am. But it ain't gonna happen. And they can criticize me. Oh, you only have the money. But that's okay, because I talk to God as much as they do, so I'm just he's lying. But you got to be secure in that, because if other people set your priorities, you're going to be stressful and not successful, I promise you. So, you got to have your pace. You got to have that plan. You got to have a reward system. In order to keep it going, whenever you got to figure out whatever that is. Then you got to have some accountability. You got to have some encouragement, some people around you who know what you're trying to do, what you're trying to pull off. That may be your marriage partner, maybe somebody in Premier that's doing that. And then you got to make sure you actually do the rewards. See, a lot of people say they're going to do this when they get this done, and then you don't do it, and then the earth suit, the Adam suit knows that you're lying next time. You're really going to happen. You've been around people, who tell you things and it doesn't happen. Well, that's the way you, in a sense, relate to your own body. You start not believing Your own self. And by the way, the most important conversation you have are the ones you have with yourself. That's what's going to be really successful. Now, what are you telling yourself and what are you listening to? And do you really believe this is what's going to happen? And knowing what your reward system is. I have to have fun. So I will speak. I'm speaking today. I will speak at Champion Forest 3 times Sunday morning. Then I will drive back here and I'll do a premiere on Monday or Tuesday. Then I will go back to the Woodlands Church and I'll do a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, a Tuesday night, a Wednesday morning, and a Wednesday noon at the Church of the Woodlands. Then I will fly to California and in LA and do a fundraiser for Wycliffe Bible Translators. And then I'll fly back here, and my wife knows that Charles does not want to work. There's still office stuff that goes on, but if I'm going to keep him on the road and happy, then we have a fun day. And so there's a day that we don't do anything. I go to the movies, we go to whatever. I love Costco. I get a hot dog. I shop. I eat all the stuff. And we're not doing anything work-wise. We're just not doing it, And so we have a commitment because she's very task-oriented. Well, we really need to get out. I said, well, we're not doing it on a fun day, because that's not fun. And so you got to know what rewards you, and then have somebody. We actually do these kind of things to keep life going, to keep it fun, to keep it, whatever that has to work, And if you just work without the rewards, you will burn out. You'll end up, running naked in the woods, been overclocking like a dog. You'll just, people like that. They were, they were going, and now they've got a hot dog stand at the beach, or they're just weird, And that's just because you end up just all these tasks, and finally you burn out. You burn out. So you gotta think through all these rewards and all this time. Now, remember, be very careful, because that comfort is that addiction. Okay, that addiction. Well, I gotta do the D's though before we go. Somebody didn't remind me of the D's. What? This will be helpful for you. Okay, this is D. This is why you don't change, and this is why the people you're trying to share hope with. This is why they don't change. Okay. And the first D is this: delay. Delay.
What is this first D?
These are why you don't change and why other people won't change that you're trying to share hope with. And the first one is delay. Here's what your Adam suit says. Your Adam suit says this: that would be great. Let's do that tomorrow. Adam suit's always delaying. Oh, that's a really good idea. Let's start that the first of the year. Oh yeah, budget, cool, man. Let's do that when January 1st would be a great time to start that. But the Adam suit is always, it's after pleasure. You see, it's after immediate pleasure, and that's anything hard. It'll say, let's do it later. Let's do it later. Going to diet when? Tomorrow. Monday. See, all of you right now, you're going on diet Monday, aren't you? Because all that junk back there. I see that junk about twice a week, so I limit myself to one of those bottles back there. Very good. And notice I'm drinking tea, not Diet Coke. See, because I got a reward. So it's important. So we got to think. So delay. The next one is detour. And detour is you change the wrong thing. See, the body, your earth suit, wants to do the easiest thing possible. Remember, it doesn't want to act better, it wants to feel better. So it says, we need to really start an exercise program. And the earth suit will say, well, we really do. Let's just cut out bread. And that's, you're not going to cut out bread, but that keeps the other. See, then the earth suit start to think. Remember, I won't go into all the theological. Remember, Satan died because of pride. He felt like pride's a big deal. So we get that. The earth suit thrives on that pride. Man, that's great. You gonna cut out bread? Well, you doing so good, And it knows you're not gonna do it. I mean, it's easy not to eat bread when there's no bread there. It's like, we're not eating bread anymore, until the next meal, and then, well, there's bread. Well, and then you detour it to something else, you see. And so it's always detoured. It's either delaying or it's detoured. Okay. The next one is dessert. And I just throw that in because that's the same as that comfort that we talked about on the seas. It's whatever the body wants to do to feel better. So, for example, when you're just constantly messing up, then what you really need to do is educate yourself, change the way you're acting. But the body doesn't want to educate itself; it wants to medicate itself. You see, the body doesn't want to. Remember when I was in private practice, they don't want a plan; they want a pill. So I want to feel better. So whatever. And see, and I hate to tell you this, but I'll tell you the truth. Some of you, because I've worked with Christians all my life, some of you your dessert is church. You're addicted to church. See, because you come to church, and that's such a situation where, well, nobody talks about problems because everybody, smiles. It's better to look good than tell the truth at church. And so, you got those praise songs that make you feel good, and God loves you, and everybody. And so you feel good, emotionally you feel good, but if you don't make any changes, remember you just come to church, you have a general sermon, you don't change anything, and you go out and your life is a mess, then that makes you want to come back to church even more. People whose life are really a mess, they love to come to church. Because that's the only place they feel good. It's church. Which I don't think God had that in mind at all. But we made church such a big deal anyway, which by the way, we created all this. We wouldn't really like this in many cases. But anyway, so we made such a good feeling that if you're not careful, you just get addicted to church. And then instead of helping people change, and change their life, you know what you do? You try to get them addicted to church. You ought to come to church with me. You feel better. Come to church with me. You feel better. And they do. And if they're not careful, they get addicted to church too. They don't change their life. Their life is just as messed up. They just feel better about it. Because them, suffering for Jesus. One day God's going to. Well, that's too convicted. Let's get too quiet here. We'll move on. Okay. Yes, sir. The next one is dependency. Dependency. Now remember this. Life is pretty much plain and simple. Okay? See, here's what the world tells you. The world tells you this. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Okay? That's the biggest lie I've ever heard of. Life's not like a box. Well, in a sense it is. Anybody remember a Whitman sampler? Remember the Whitman sampler? And I don't know if they're still this way, but in the old days, back when I was young and skinny eater, in the old days, they had on the top, you could tell what's in the Whitman sampler. So if you wanted pecans with caramel, it's second from the left. You got it. If you wanted peanuts and fudge, third from the right. You got it. Now, they would have two surprises. Remember they put looms, to me in my mind it's like that reddish looking stuff. But anyway, they put paper over so you didn't know what they were. Surprises. And that's the way life is. There's some surprises out there, but most of the time, you tell me what you're doing, I'm telling you what you're going to get. Here's what the Bible puts it. Whatsoever man sows, that shall he also reap. Life's pretty plain and simple. It's telling you. Now, the problem is, this is life the way it really is, and then the world is a Ponzi scheme. The world is then telling you, this isn't the way life is. Life's like a box of chocolate. You don't know what you're going to get, And so, hey,